you're new to the channel, a quick update to get you up to speed. Royal Enfield Australia have provided us with a long-term Himalayan 450. And it's fair to say this bike has had an absolute flogging. Take a look at this.
Keep it going, your muffler's under.
A 4,000 kilometre outback adventure. An extreme mud ride with mates who like to jump. And today it's time for its 10,000 kilometre service, where we're going to dive right in. So if you're new to Mad TV, we do three things on this channel. Detailed bike reviews where we test the latest adventure mounts to hit Australian shores over thousands of kilometres. Cracking bike builds where we create mouth-watering adventure mounts. And finally, our favourite, long-form motorcycle adventure movies from all over the world. So if you like what we do, subscribe. $10,000k service time for the Hemi, and we're at Moto Machine at the intersection of Parramatta Road and James Roos Drive. Let's go in. Have a go at this flash store. Damo, she's done 10,000 k's of half miles this bike, so I look forward to this first service. Nothing on it needs attention that I know of. Like it's just going brilliantly. Here goes our baby. Now that's a thread. Ooh. That's not what I expected. I nearly died when no oil came out. I thought to myself, we couldn't have been riding this bike without 2 litres of oil in the sump, for God's sake. It can't be. So where is it?
It comes out of the strainers.
Oh, right. Nothing came out of there. It's dry sump.
It's kind of like the same on the classic 350s, like the drain point.
Right.
It comes out of the strainer.
Well, that was an anticlimax.
Rear one?
Yeah. Mate, you... I'll be your catcher. Alright, that's alright. I'm kind of relieved about that. I'm thinking, don't tell me we've sat that bike for 8 hours, you know, at 120 kilometres an hour in the outback with a cup of oil in it.
It was on the level, so
yeah.
Obviously just because it's been freshly ridden, it's all up in the
top.
top.
So this is for the big stuff, metal strainers. Yep. There they come. Yeah, they look pretty clean, don't they? Not much in them at all. There you go. Oh. Yeah.
Move them up a little bit.
Alright, you have a good day? See you later.
Just put the filter in.
truckload of oil. That's one of the good things about it, isn't it? 10,000 kilometre service interval and a truckload of oil.
It's only 2 litres.
2 litres in an engine's much better than some bikes out there, I can tell you. My Husky 501 is 1.2 litres.
More oil is not necessarily a bad thing.
No. Yeah, here's the standard bash plate on the Enfield, and it's bloody solid. And you think how the way Nugget was jumping that the other day. Yeah, so when Nugget's been jumping it, he has slightly bent this bracket. Remember, we've got an off-road bash plate coming, so this is just a standard one. You think of the flogging that Nugget gave it, and look, the plastic itself, the bash plate hasn't broken at all, which surprises me. God, I'll have to clean under the seat next time, Dan. Let's need to do a bit more cleaning. All right, let's have a look.
So I've already removed all of the fasteners.
Yep.
Essentially, that's tank off.
Right.
Gives you access to your airbox.
Ah, there's the airbox. Nice and tight. Uh-huh.
Looks pretty good.
Well, this has done a truckload of dusty environment. Oh, looks alright, doesn't it? Gotta be happy with that. Yeah, it's looking good.
That's pretty good.
So there's the snorkel where the air actually enters the airbox. So it's really up high. It must be up here somewhere, is it? Up in here. Yeah, quite amazingly high, isn't it? Right up high. So when Nugget went over the other day, that's kept that right out of the water. Now, here's a little trick with this airbox that no one has really mentioned yet that I've seen on any videos. So that's your snorkel, that's your inlet for the air. But actual, for the throttle body, it comes up and it's up here. So you can see way down there, and the actual inlet for the throttle body's up high. So even if water gets in here, it can't get to the throttle body. So that's a great little bit of design work there. Very clever. So next step is to do valve clearances. So to do that, the airboxes has to come off and the tappet cover.
So I've loosened off all of our fasteners and disconnected all of the plugs.
Yep.
But essentially it comes off. You can see we've got throttle body comes off with it.
Yep.
Then you've got your water drain.
Yep.
So we've got, doesn't look like we've got any water in there.
That's good.
And then the coil stays attached to the bottom of the airbox.
Oh, right. All comes off in one hit.
It comes off as one go.
There you go. There's the guts of our Hemi. Look at this. Not many people have seen this, mate. Closed up for another 10,000 Ks. That's it. There's the old filter. Got a new one here. Beautiful. That looks nice and clean. All right, let's go. So that just goes in there like a cassette, doesn't it? Just sits on that.
Symmetric seals around the snorkel.
Yep, that's it. Boom.
And with your cap, you've got your
Yep.
centering pin in the top,
There you go.
which is done.
Just put those three bolts on there. And that is it. There's a lot of interest in how you change an air filter on a Himalayan. And let's go through it, Damon. So
once you've removed the seat,
yep.
You remove the fasteners for the rear bracket for the fuel tank.
Yeah.
Leave that attached to the tank.
Yep.
And then the fuel tank will actually just slide backwards
Yep.
and lift up.
Yep. All right, so let's go through these connectors for the
So when you're removing the fuel tank from the Himalayan,
Yeah.
you've got a couple of electrical connectors,
Yeah.
the main fuel line and some vacuum lines, which will come off.
Yeah.
So you've got your connector for your fuel level sensor.
Yeah.
You have the connector for power for the fuel pump,
Yeah.
fuel line itself,
Yep.
and a couple of vacuum lines here
Yep.
for drainage and for
Equalisation.
equalization.
Yep.
So all of those you have access to once you've loosened the tank,
Yep.
and we'll show you how the tank comes off.
Yep. Right, the first one is the fuel level indicator or sensor.
A little sensor just on the inside of the tank there.
Yeah. And then she goes
Tank goes on over the tops of
to
these
those lugs. Yep.
lugs at the front there.
Yep.
They're a little tight. You've got to wiggle it to get it on.
Wiggle it on. Yep. And then
From the back, you've got your power
yeah,
to the fuel pump,
it's good to
fuel
have.
line itself.
And to get that off, that's just you just squeeze those yellow tabs.
those
Yeah.
yellow things.
Yep. Yep.
And we've got these two hoses,
Yep.
which is easiest to do with the tank basically in place, down like this.
Yep. So it's just got these rubber lugs there. It just slides in on those rubber lugs. Wiggle it on.
So with the tank all the way home at the front,
Yep.
find your bolts at the back line up again,
That's it. Bob's your uncle.
bolt it down. When you're taking the tank off, this cover here has to come off just to give you access.
Yeah.
It slots on at the front through these
Oh yeah.
slots here, just to the rubber pads in the inside.
All right. Yep.
So they slot on, and then you've got a single fastener to hold them in place.
So you're just running it to get the oil into the oil filters.
Yep. After
Yep.
you do a service, you obviously have to pre-charge the oil filter when
Yep.
you first run it.
Yep.
So we just give it a run, fill everything up, then double check and reset the oil level afterwards. First start up after you've taken the tensioner out always sounds really noisy
It did.
because it needs to get oil pressure to get the tensioner up.
So Damien, you've spent the day with her. What's she like? She's in what sort of nick?
Considering what I've heard that this bike's been through, I'm very impressed. We did find some dirt, but it was underneath the seats where you couldn't get to it to clean it. But otherwise, it's in great condition.
Yeah.
Looks like you have to ride it harder. It is starting to get a bit gritty in there.
Yeah.
So a couple of links are getting a bit tight.
Yep.
We'll put some tension on it.
Mhm. Get that in. Too loose.
Too loose.
And you're setting it for.
35 to 40 mil.
Yep. All done. So I've got some homework to do when I get home. Have a go to that. Nugget, you're to blame for that.
Nothing abnormal.
Nothing at all.
Okay. She's come back, Damien. All ready to rock and roll.
All ready to rock and roll.
So just have an inspection at 5,000 Ks and a full service at 10,000 Ks.
That's correct.
Yep. Well, let's go and give it another flogging.
Long-term loan bikes allow us to experience the bike as an owner. In the case of the Himalayan, we've had the bike a couple of months and we've already put it through what I believe is extreme use. That said, Clubby and I treat the bikes as if they are our own. So it's time to reflect on how the bike is holding up and what I will do to keep it mechanically sound and looking good.
Oh, fuck.
It's also time to review the success of the modifications we've made to the bike and consideration of future improvements. I noticed that a small amount of dust had got past the paper air filter and had lightly coated the inside of the airbox. If you're riding in dusty conditions, I highly recommend getting an oiled foam air filter and or a higher quality filter and changing it more regularly than 10,000 kilometres. It's a pain that the air filter is under the tank, but it doesn't look to be too long a job to change. I'm confident I could knock it over in about 20 minutes. We know Australian dust is very fine and many manufacturers recognise this and replace paper air filters with oiled foam. There are a number of aftermarket air filters of higher dust protection out there. I understand Unifilter will have one available shortly. When you're in the dirt and mud, you're going to get scratches on that highly polished tank. To keep that tank looking good, I'll be applying some clear contact. When riding the bike in difficult dirt, you rub your groin on the tank. The gaffer tape did the job, but it looks crap. The sides of the tank also require protection where your knees rub. The bike is showing some signs of wear, but that's to be expected. It's just minor stuff. It's patina. Gives the bike character. I'm impressed with the electrics on the bike. Nothing has gone wrong, despite us submerging the bike in water and mud. And that switch block on the left-hand side, I mean, that had been underwater in mud for ages. And it's just come out, everything's working fine, and I'm impressed with that. I'm surprised how well the stock bash plate has held up. That said, I'll be happier when the heavy-duty bash plate I ordered arrives. Also, I'm still waiting on aluminium handguards. I can't believe we haven't broken any levers. So at this stage, only 2 modifications have been made to the bike, and they've both been a huge success. The fitting of Pirelli Rally Scorpion tyres, which have an off-road bias, dramatically lifted dirt handling of the bike. If you like riding in the dirt, getting off-road oriented tyres is the standout modification to improving handling. The larger touring screen has also been a huge success, improving rider comfort for long days at high speed. And it's also sufficiently away from the rider in the rough terrain, so that's going to stay there no matter what conditions I ride in. And finally, the brakes. Considering the large proportion of dirt riding this bike has done, brake pad wear is good. Despite some minor scuffing of the discs, which can be expected in dirt conditions, braking performance continues to be excellent. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching Mad TV, and just a reminder, it's worth becoming a member on this channel. Not only do you get early access to videos, there are also giveaways and lots of other benefits. A big thanks to Liat Australia for providing a pair of adventure gloves for our next prize. Until next time, as Nugget would say,
keep your filters clean and your throttles on. Woo!